Hey, and good Sunday morning, everybody. Meteorologist Greg Majeski back with you here on the Weather Nerds YouTube channel with your severe weather update for today. We had a busy, active day across the southeast yesterday. We still have some weather out there again this morning. But the big news story for today is going to be the expected potential derecho, which is kind of the big brother for the multicellular storm systems we've kind of been tracking here for a while. This one could be quite significant. Now, before we get going into this report, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please consider it if you'd like to have these kind of updates in your YouTube feed. And if you have any weather-related questions, as always, you can always post them in the comment section. I always go back and check, again, especially if you're coming to this after our live update. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on right now here across the southeast. We do have some storms out there for this morning. And we've had a few severe thunderstorm warnings. We have that one just let off here near the Athens area. But see these storms here coming in through South Carolina, back in here across central portions of Georgia, and back over toward Columbus. Seeing some thunderstorms down here approaching the Eufaula area. So we're getting some thunderstorms and some rain. It's kind of backed off a little bit here from what it was this morning. We had quite a few just before 6 this morning here across portions of Alabama. But things have settled down here just a little bit. Now, yesterday, boy, it was a very, very busy day, and I want to go ahead and get this up for you here. I think it may have turned back off, so yeah, it usually resets at about, I think it resets about 8:30, so I think I'm a little slow getting in here for that, but let me see if it'll pop up here for you. Again, as the Storm Prediction Center is updating their chart. We had over 300, believe it or not, 300 plus of reports yesterday, so it is, I think, will be something that'll be a lot higher than that for today. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Since it's not ready, look at the big bullseye that we have painted over areas of Texas and in Oklahoma. There's several ingredients that are kind of coming together for this. But before I get into all the model data, let's go ahead and break down the categories here as far as what you could expect in those areas here. And I'll kind of give you the timing on everything as well. So again, we have that slight risk here from the mid-Atlantic down toward the southeast. That's what's kind of the residual leftover from yesterday. Then we got new activity here that's going to be firing here late this afternoon and going in toward tonight. So again, that's a moderate risk. You don't see that very often from the Storm Prediction Center. Now, this is a derecho event, so we're not expecting anything that's going to be super high as far as tornado outbreak. There's a possibility for tornadoes that are going to be there, but it's just not that type of event. We have a couple of pockets, 5% here across areas of Virginia and up toward Maryland a little bit. And then, of course, you got the big bullseye here across the central portion of the country. So we're talking about Oklahoma City down toward Dallas, Amarillo, this area in here. The big story is going to be the wind. And with the strong jet stream that's expected to be above, we can see winds anywhere from 80 to 100 miles per hour. Like I said, a derecho is definitely a big brother of an MCS, okay? MCS, typically, you get 60, 70 mile per hour, severe thunderstorm warnings over a period. This one, much higher. Think about on par to like the event we had last mid-May in Houston, Texas, which kind of knocked out a lot of power there. But you see the big bullseye there, in the purple there across Wichita Falls and getting into the Dallas metro area. So we're talking about a major metropolitan area here that could see a direct impact here from a derecho. Just imagine being hit by basically like a Category 2 hurricane as far as the winds are concerned in there. Now, obviously, with that threat, we're going to have a hail threat here for today. Obviously, big bullseye there as well, running 30% hail, pretty large area there, coming from Dumas over toward Oklahoma City, Norman, down toward Dallas once again, Abilene, all into that zone for potential hail for today. So that is going to be the big news story, is watching how this begins to evolve. And here's the thing, folks, how this derecho evolves for today is going to dictate on how this will evolve for tomorrow, as we're expecting that whatever's left of that complex to move into the southeast, and will be augmenting to chances of storms there across the southeast going in towards your Monday. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about model data. I want to go ahead and break this down for you here, and we're going to look at the composite radar and give you an idea of what you're going to expect here as we go through the late afternoon hours here. So let's go look at the latest high-resolution model data here, and I'm going to back this up here so you can kind of see what's going on. Again, notice by 1 o'clock, we really don't have anything going on here. We got some storms there across the southeast, obviously. And as this progresses on, then we start seeing that first hints of stuff about 3 in the afternoon. We're going to start seeing this stuff start to develop in this area and kind of rotating down this way. It's a little cold core, okay? And as that thing moves on in, it's gonna fire up pretty well, and it's gonna be a nice little complex of storms. Look at this thing really get going here as we head towards 7 o'clock tonight. So again, coming in towards 6 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock, you got a nice little complex of storms coming through the Wichita Falls area first by 8, 9 o'clock. And then as we go in toward 11, 12, coming in toward the Dallas area. So this is our complex of storms right here that we're going to be watching here that's going to be severe. Now you got this line up here. You can be some severe up in here as well, and some down to the south. But it's going to be this one complex area right in the middle here that's going to be the big boy. Okay, to see if this is actually going to develop into a true derecho, or is it going to be just an MC, cluster of severe thunderstorms and be a regular MCS? That's going to be the big question we have to watch for today. Now, I want to break this down here. One of the reasons we're kind of going to see this for today is we've got very high CAPE here. That's that fuel. That's that energy, the heat source to kind of fuel these thunderstorms. So, the most unstable, this is what we call MU CAPE. Most unstable CAPE is very, very high here for this afternoon. This is your 12 snapshot. And you see all that purple in here, 3,700, 4,000, 3,700. These are much, much higher than, say, the CAPE we were dealing with like yesterday across the southeast when we had the severe weather there. Is running about 22, 2,300. This is a lot higher, so we got a lot more energy to deal with there. On top of that, we've got a pretty good jet stream blowing here over the top. These winds here at about 30,000 feet going into 9 o'clock, that's when that complex storms are coming in, are sitting at 84 knots. That's about 95, 96 miles per hour. So we had 30,000 feet. We've got some very strong winds blowing across North Texas. That's one ingredient there. Obviously, a thunderstorm, a severe thunderstorm like this, is going to punch right through 30,000 feet. That's going to be very easy. So that updraft and those downdrafts can really bring those higher winds aloft and bring them right down toward the surface. So that's why 80 to 100 mile per hour winds, that ratio is not out of the question, especially for that complex coming through Wichita Falls and in through Dallas. You can see that high wind energy coming right through there at the same time. So we've got fuel. Got plenty of fuel there, and we've got some very high winds. The only reason why we don't have the high tornado threat is we don't have a lot of helicity. The winds are generally moving out of the same direction. You got to have a little bit of spin there. Now, you can still get tornadoes, but right along like the part of the squall line there that can briefly spin up. But predominantly, this is going to be a big wind event, big wind machine that's going to cause a lot of problems here for those areas again. So again, we back this up again, showing that day one here. Let me go back over to show you that once again. Again, that's the bullseye, and it looks like we're talking late afternoon and going into the evening hours, and especially going into the night. So going into 6, 7, 8, 9, and going up toward late time. So again, this is going to be hopefully something where folks are in that part of the country are getting prepared and getting ready. Give you an example. I did take my umbrella down yesterday, but I didn't take it out of its thing, and the wind still got up underneath there and tore the crap out of it. So again, you want to make sure you protect your property. You want to make sure you protect garbage cans, bring your cars. There's going to be a large hail threat with this. I think 2-inch plus, I think baseball size hails, not out of the question for this thing. We've seen a lot of that this season as we go on through. So looking at the satellite imagery here this morning, you can kind of see where that boundary is currently sitting. You see all the thunderstorms here across the Carolinas through the southeast and stretching back over toward Texas. So we'll continue that. We're just going to wait for that energy that's going to come out of Colorado, drop out into Oklahoma. And it's a little cold core. It shows up very nicely there. It's cooler. The temperatures are cooler aloft than what's around. It makes it very, very easy for that column of air to rise rapidly and give you some very, very strong, robust, severe thunderstorms in that zone. So that's what we're looking like for today. As you look at our surface map here, again, you can kind of see where things are going on right now. It's quiet. We don't have any watches out there for the moment, but we are going to see tornado watches and severe thunderstorm watches here for later today. We'll be interested to see. My guess is this thing is as strong and as powerful as they think it's going to be. I think they'll probably just go ahead and put tornado watches up regardless, especially for areas here into Oklahoma and Texas in its area. I know my buddy Dan, who does radio there back in Dallas-Fort Worth, I know he's going to be very busy going in towards tonight. And then, like I said, for the folks across the southeast, we'll have to see how this thing begins to evolve and see how it projects as it moves off toward the east and heads in our direction. Now, although the day two right now just shows a slight risk right now, and I want to go back to that real quick. Again, you're seeing that slight risk for Monday. I still think it's a possibility, depending on how this derecho evolves and develops, that we could see maybe an enhanced pocket in there for tomorrow as well. So keep that in mind as we go to tomorrow. So I will do another live update for tomorrow morning to keep you guys informed, keep you prepared, and not scared. That's my motto here on our station here, is to keep you prepared, not scared, and not to go over the top. But again, looking at the storms here for this morning, and I cannot downplay the significance of the severe weather for today. Again, I don't usually hype storms up to death on this, but this is one where the ingredients are there. It's just a question of how bad it's going to be. We are getting some severe weather already out here, out toward Texas. Again, not related to the derecho that's expected. It's just an individual severe thunderstorm, as you're currently seeing out there. The new warning that just came out. Golf ball size hail and damage threat considerable. So the fact that we're not even talking about derecho, we're already getting golf ball size hail tells you an idea of just the instability and the energy that's going to be there, the jet energy that's going to be there, and the fuel source for that thunderstorm is that cool little pocket kind of pulls on out and bumps right into that warm air, and it's going to boom, it's just going to pop big time heading in for tonight. So anyway, that is your morning update. Again, to kind of share this with your family, friends, anybody that's in the affected area here. Folks across the southeast season stay ahead. It looks still looking active here for the next 7 days. I think beyond the 15th, we start to see things begin to settle down a little bit here. We do get a little bit of a mid break here in the middle of the week, across the southeast, especially where I'm at. And then we might see it kind of tick back up again heading toward the weekend. So anyway, that is your morning update. You guys take it easy, be good, stay safe, and we'll see you on the next update. You guys